Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a show where we'll provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Pakistan-backed terror strikes Kashmir, 7 civilians killed in cold blood. Support for Hamas reflects deepening radical sentiment in Pakistan. And Sri Lanka grapples with security fears as tourists advised to leave key areas. Pakistan's insidious campaign of terror in Jammu and Kashmir continues, with terrorists targeting unarmed civilians to disrupt peace and stall development. In their latest act of brutality, innocent migrant workers were gunned down in cold blood, exposing Islamabad's desperation to keep the region unstable. While Pakistan faces internal collapse, it continues to export violence across the border, using proxies to sabotage Kashmir's progress. But these cowardly attacks will not break the spirit of the people or derail India's efforts to build a prosperous and peaceful Kashmir. Our story will tell you more.
Pakistan's obsession with disrupting peace in Jammu and Kashmir continues unabated, with terror outfits once again targeting unarmed civilians. In an escalation of violence, 7 employees of an uninfrastructure company, including a doctor and 6 migrant workers, were gunned down by terrorists on October 20th. The attack occurred at a construction workers' camp near the scenic Sonmarg Health Resort along the Srinagar-Leh National Highway, marking one of the most brutal terrorist strikes on laborers in Kashmir's recent history. The victims were part of a critical infrastructure project constructing tunnels that would provide all-weather connectivity to the strategically vital Ladakh region bordering with China and Pakistan. Terrorists stormed their camp in the evening, unleashing a hail of bullets on unsuspecting workers who were there simply to earn their livelihood.
डॉक्टर साहब कल खबर जो हुई इलाके में फैल गई तो मातम बरपा गया। रात लोग नींद सोए गए। अभी भी थोड़े लोग अभी इस गगनगीर गांधरबल में है कि ये उल्फत और प्यार देखकर अभी भी लोग घरों में सहम गए। थोड़े लोग घरों से बाहर हैं।
This isn't the first time non-Kashmiri migrant workers have been targeted. Terrorists operating under Pakistan's influence have repeatedly attacked those employed in orchards, paddy fields and construction sites, aiming to drive them out of the region and cripple local development. The Resistant Front, a shadow group of the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, has claimed responsibility for the Sonmarg attack. Intelligence reports indicate that TRF has become a proxy used by Pakistani handlers to carry out targeted killings, furthering Islamabad's agenda of sabotaging peace and progress in Jammu and Kashmir. In a separate incident last week, the bullet-riddled body of a laborer from Bihar was found in Shopian, underscoring a growing pattern of violence aimed at non-local workers. These attacks are being seen as desperate attempts to spread fear and instability, especially as Kashmir undergoes rapid socio-economic development since the abrogation of Article 370.
The problem here is that these terrorists and all, ISI is bent upon sending them with the aid and full notice of the Pakistan government. Till the time we in India stop being reactive mode and take on a proactive mode, that is, we take this fight down to Pakistan in its own territory, this will carry on. Till the time the cost of these infiltrations and these terrorists is not imposed on the Pakistan army, nothing will change. because Pakistan is hell-bent upon raising up the terrorism again in Jammu and Kashmir, and also trying to ensure that this message goes across to the world that Jammu and Kashmir is not stable. Jammu and Kashmir, there is unrest over there. So we have to now change our tactics and ensure that whichever post, whichever area the terrorists start infiltrating, that entire post should be eliminated, so that the cost of that goes on to the Pakistan Army and the Pakistan Rangers. Then only Pakistan will stop sending these terrorists inside the territory.
The Indian government's efforts to promote infrastructure, investment and tourism in the Union territory are being met with hostility by Pakistan, which continues to rely on covert warfare to maintain unrest in the region. By attacking civilian workers, Pakistan-backed terror outfits aim to slow down infrastructure projects and obstruct the economic revival of Jammu and Kashmir. Despite repeated denials by Islamabad, the involvement of Pakistan-based terror outfits is undeniable. Training camps, logistical support and funding channels remain active across the border, fueling terrorism in the Kashmir Valley. These attacks are part of Pakistan's long-standing proxy war against India, aimed at keeping the region in perpetual turmoil. While terror groups try to instill fear, the resolve of the people and the government remains unshaken. As in recent operations, several terrorists connected to such attacks have been neutralized.
This wave of terror has escalated further, with Pakistan-backed terrorists now intensifying attacks on both civilians and security forces. In a brazen ambush near Gulmarg, 2 soldiers and 2 civilian porters were killed when an army vehicle was attacked. The surge in violence includes targeted killings of non-local labourers, highlighting the malicious intent behind Islamabad's support for these terror outfits. We have a report. 4 separate terror attacks have shaken Jammu and Kashmir in just 1 week. The most recent attack occurred on October 24th, when terrorists ambushed an army vehicle belonging to the 18 Rashtriya Rifles near Gulmarg, close to the line of control. 2 soldiers and 2 civilian porters lost their lives in the ambush, while 4 other soldiers were critically injured and are currently undergoing treatment. According to officials, the vehicle was en route from Bodhpatri, a remote area just 5 kilometers from the LOC, when the terrorists launched their assault. Security sources have indicated that Pakistan's Border Action Team may be behind this ambush. The BAT, infamous for cross-border attacks, has previously carried out brutal operations in Kashmir, and their involvement in this latest attack has not been ruled out.
जब ये खबर हमने सुनी कि एक गरीब मुश्ताक अहमद चौधरी जो कि होंडी नौशहरा का रहने वाला है, इसकी मौत वाक़ा हो गई है, ये अफसोसनाक एक बात है, क्योंकि इसके घर में इसका वालिद है जो कि कैंसर पेशेंट है, इसकी माँ बुजुर्ग है और इसको 3 साल का बच्चा है। कहाँ जाएगा वो 3 साल का बच्चा इस स्टेज पे, और इसकी जो बीवी है वो भी बेचारी छोटी है। घर में कोई ऐसा सोर्स ऑफ इनकम नहीं है। इसके जो फादर हैं उसको महाना लगभग 10-12 हज़ार रुपया खर्चा आता है उसकी दवाई पे या बाकी सब चीज़ों पे। आपने देखा होगा वो इस टाइम बिस्तरे में बैठा हुआ है, सिर्फ इतना बोलता है कि मुझे ये क्या हुआ, मेरे ही साथ ऐसा क्यों। तो लिहाजा मैं इतना बोलना चाहूँगा कि अब तो हद हो गई। वही जानता है जिसके घर से उसका बेटा निकलता है, जो घर वीरान हो जाते हैं, वही इस चीज़ की पेन समझ सकता है। तो इस वक्त इसकी हालत क्या है, घर में कोई सोर्स ऑफ इनकम नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है। तो मैं हुकूमत को भी इसके साथ साथ ये कहना चाहूँगा कि जनाब इंसाफ की ज़रूरत है।
While security forces have launched counter operations in response to the Gulmarg ambush, terrorists have simultaneously stepped up attacks on civilians, particularly targeting non-local laborers. On October 24th morning, terrorists shot and injured a migrant worker from Uttar Pradesh in the Thrall area of Pulwama district. This attack follows a horrific massacre in Ganderbal district, where 6 non-local labourers and a local doctor were killed at a construction site. On October 18th, another labourer from Bihar was shot dead by terrorists in Shopia district. The repeated targeting of non-local workers highlights Pakistan's sinister agenda of instilling fear among those contributing to Kashmir's economy. These innocent civilians, many of them daily wage labourers and street vendors, have become soft targets for Pakistan-backed terrorists whose aim is to disrupt development efforts and create communal tensions.
The terrorists in Kashmir want to portray a feeling that you might include democracy in Kashmir, but we are going to fulfill our agenda and you are never going to be successful. That is the message they have sent to Bharat and the government of our country. Come what may, we all know that these terrorists are being helped with weapons, they are being helped with training by Pakistan. No other country is doing this except for Pakistan. This is a loud and a clear message to Pakistan that Pakistan must immediately halt these adventurous activities that they are trying to play with India. Our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, also, when he had gone for the SCO meet, he made certain things very, very clear. That talks with Pakistan only are possible if Pakistan keeps aside the issue of terrorism. Point number 1. Point number 2 is if issues of Pak-occupied Kashmir are immediately solved and Pak-occupied Kashmir is handed over to India.
This escalation of violence exposes Pakistan's deep-rooted strategy to destabilize Kashmir, even as Islamabad faces a multitude of crises at home. With its economy in freefall, political instability rampant, and international isolation growing, Pakistan continues to divert attention by fueling cross-border terrorism in India. Rather than addressing its own governance failures and human rights abuses, Pakistan is fixated on keeping Kashmir in a state of fear. The diversionary tactic not only masks its internal failures but also serves to mislead its own population by keeping Kashmir at the forefront of its narrative. In a notable show of support for Hamas, Islamist groups in Pakistan held a funeral prayer for the killed militant leader Yahya Sinwar, highlighting deepening radical sentiments in the country. This event, organized by Jamaat-e-Islami and Pakistan Markazi Muslim League, drew hundreds of attendees in cities like Karachi and Lahore. Sinwar, who played a pivotal role in the deadly October 7 attacks on Israel, is now being glorified, raising concerns about the normalization of extremist views among Pakistani youth. Such actions not only reflect growing radicalization but also pose challenges to regional stability and complicate international relations. Take a look.
In a troubling display of solidarity with a figure linked to violence against Israel, Islamists in Pakistan held a funeral prayer for killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar on October 19. This event underscores the ongoing radicalization trends within certain segments of Pakistani society. Known for its ideological alignment with groups like Hamas, Jamaat-e-Islami organized the prayers in country, signaling its support for Sinwar's actions. Approximately 200 individuals attended the event in Karachi, while dozens more gathered in Lahore for a similar prayer organized by the Pakistan Markazi Muslim League. Yahya Sinwar was recognized as the architect behind Hamas's deadly October 7 attacks on Israel, which resulted in significant casualties. His death occurred during a gunfight with Israeli forces, concluding a year-long manhunt. This act of honoring a militant leader raises concerns about the normalization of extremist views in Pakistan and the potential for increased radicalization among youth influenced by such narratives.
पूरी गज़ा की कौम को खराज तहसीन पेश करता हूँ और दुनिया भर में जितने भी लोग इन मज़लूमों की हिमायत कर रहे हैं, ख़ास तौर पे अमेरिका और यूरोप के अवाम जिस तरह से गज़ा के अवाम के साथ खड़े हैं, मैं उन अवाम का भी शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, उन्हें भी खराज तहसीन पेश करता हूँ। और मैं शदीद मज़म्मत करता हूँ पूरी मुस्लिम दुनिया के इन जाबिर हुक्मरानों पे कि जिन्होंने मुस्लिम दुनिया में एहतजाज पर भी पाबंदी लगाई हुई है और हम गज़ा के मुसलमानों के हक़ में एहतजाज भी नहीं कर सकते।
A significant section of Pakistani society has historically demonstrated support for Hamas, driven by a combination of ideological, religious and political factors. As the conflict between Israel and Hamas marked its one-year anniversary on October 7, protests erupted across Pakistan, highlighting a growing radical sentiment. In Lahore, over 1,000 people participated in a rally organized by the group Tehreek-e-Bedari-e-Ummat-e-Mustafa. The protesters chanted slogans such as "Death to Israel" and violently attacked an effigy of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu with sandals and flagpoles. In addition to the demonstrations in Lahore, approximately 200 people marched in Karachi, while over 100 gathered in Islamabad, collectively showcasing a rising tide of support for Hamas and opposition to Israel among segments of the Pakistani population.
हम तमाम इस्लामी ममालिक से ये मुतालबा करते हैं कि तमाम इस्लामी ममालिक अपनी अफवाज को इस वक्त फौरी तौर पर फलस्तीन में भेजे ताकि वो गज़ा के मज़लूम भाइयों के साथ उनकी ढाल बन सके और इसराइल और अमेरिका को नेस्तो नाबूद कर सके।
जालिमों सहूनियों के खिलाफ मोमिन मुसलमान मुत्तहिद हो जाए, वो दिन दूर नहीं कि इंशाअल्लाह वो नाबूद हो जाए और क़िबला अव्वल आज़ाद हो जाए।
Hamas attacked southern Israel on October 7, 2023, killing around 1,200 people and taking about 250 as hostages. The glorification of figures like Sinwar by parties such as Jamaat-e-Islami raises alarms about the potential for increased radicalization in Pakistan. The intertwining of political rhetoric and violent extremism poses significant challenges to stability and peace in the region. This trend also complicates international relations, particularly as the global community grapples with the implications of extremist movements.
Sri Lanka is grappling with heightened security challenges as concerns mount for the safety of tourists. The Israeli National Security Council has issued a warning advising its citizens to evacuate popular areas like Arugam Bay due to credible threats of terrorism. In response, Sri Lankan authorities have intensified security measures following the arrest of 3 suspects linked to a potential attack on Israeli tourists. Both the US and German embassies have issued alerts, urging caution and advising travelers to avoid affected regions. A report. Concerns for the safety of tourists in Sri Lanka are rising as Israel's National Security Council has issued a stark warning to its citizens. Reports indicate a potential terrorist threat targeting popular tourist areas, particularly in the southern region of the island. The Israeli government has called on its nationals to evacuate specific tourist areas in southern Sri Lanka, notably Arugam Bay and nearby beaches, citing credible intelligence about a potential terrorist attack. According to reports, authorities in Sri Lanka have intensified security measures following the arrest of 3 individuals linked to a suspected plot against Israeli tourists.
ඔක්තෝබර් 7 වන විට ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපිට බුද්ධිතරතුරු ලැබුණා යම්කිසි විදේශික ජාතිකයන් ඉලක්ක කරගෙන යම්කිසි ප්‍රහාරයක් එල්ල කරන්න සූදානම් කියලා.
Although the specifics of the threat have not been detailed, the Israeli Security Council is advising its citizens throughout Sri Lanka to remain vigilant and steer clear of large gatherings. In light of these warnings, police forces have significantly bolstered their presence in the impacted regions, and officials are on heightened alert to safeguard both local residents and tourists.
මේ වන විට මේ විදේශිකයන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව තහවුරු කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒත් එක්කම ඔවුනොත් සෑහීමකට පත් වෙන ඒ ආරක්ෂාව සම්බන්ධයෙන්
The US Embassy in Sri Lanka has issued a security alert indicating that it has received credible information about a potential attack aimed at well-known tourist spots in the Arugam Bay region. In addition, Germany's foreign ministry has advised its citizens to either avoid the area altogether or leave as quickly as possible, referencing indications of possible attacks on tourist destinations. Sri Lanka has seen a steady influx of visitors this year, with government statistics revealing that 1.5 million tourists arrived in the first 8 months, including over 20,500 from Israel. However, with rising tensions linked to the Israel-Hamas conflict, the safety of tourists remain a critical concern for both local authorities and international governments. Local authorities in Sri Lanka are acutely aware of the implications of these international tensions on their tourism industry. Such geopolitical tensions can lead potential visitors to reconsider their travel plans, fearing for their safety in a region perceived to be unstable. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra, signing off on behalf of the entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.